Why, hello there, lovely listeners and viewers. You are back down the red rabbit hole, and have we got a guest for you today? We've got author Jody Cooksley with us. Jody, you're down the red rabbit hole. How are you feeling after your abduction?
I'm okay. The sack's a little bit itchy, but other
I've
than that,
heard
we're all
that.
good.
Just think of it as exfoliation rather than itchy.
Yeah, excellent. Could do that in the
Hessian,
summer.
yeah. And of course, we have our resident abductor, Lisa Shepherd, also known as an actress and comedian and therapist and
I was
marathon
going to
runner.
go, that's my new job title, isn't it? Abductor.
Abductor.
Author abductor with a scratchy sack.
I dare you to go on Vistaprint and get those business cards
I think I should.
I'm not
with the
sure
red
Vistaprint
rabbit
was
with his
print the
sack.
scratchy sack.
Yeah. Now with
With
sack
scratchy
softener.
sack. I've heard that before
Yeah,
in my
you need to just
youth.
put that through the wash.
I think that'll make it worse. I don't think I'm going to be able to fluff it in the tumble dryer.
You
I've
don't think
tried
so?
lining it with various things to make it more pleasant for the authors, but so far everyone said it's
Normally
still a bit
we line it
scratchy.
with booze and cigarettes for authors, don't we?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I'm still
Stick some
looking
things in
into
there to
these
keep them company.
corners.
Yeah. So Jody, you're here to talk about the research you did for your books, and it's the research you've done is one of our favourite subjects. It's Victoriana, isn't it?
It is. It's Victor. It's in particular. It's kind of grisly Victorian
We've got your book
ne'er-do-wells and
here,
wrongdoings.
and we've got your book here. Can you see?
The Surgeon's House.
Yeah,
So
absolutely
the Surgeon's
beautiful.
House is actually a companion novel to Small Museum.
Mm.
So a lot of the research that I did for both of them is kind of crossed over, but the small museum was based around collectors and museums and these kind of cabinets of curiosity that had very, very grim things in them. And I think the worst thing that I found in my research for that was a horn grown from a human forehead, which is an actual artifact in the Hunterian Museum, and inspired one of the chapters. But
Has
for the
it
surgeon's house, it was medical research, so that Victorian medical research is even worse.
Oh.
has the
I,
horn been studied now to like for DNA to see where it came from or what happened or?
It's not named, so it was an exhibit in the Hunterian Museum, which is part of the Royal College of Surgeons, and so they do have things that are still on display, and they will absolutely know where it came from, but they're not allowed to name people or patients or so on.
Oh,
Just I think they're a little bit kinder these days, and they in case people's relatives will go and visit, and they don't want to be taken by surprise by things like that.
oh. I
oh
mean,
gosh, could you imagine?
what does someone have to grow a horn, like demonitis or something?
Cuckold.
Well,
It's a cuckold, isn't
demonitis.
it? Didn't you
That's
Is
the
get a
it?
thing,
horn
yeah.
for being a cuckold, for being, yeah, for having relations outside of your marriage? I
I've
thought you grew
not
a
heard
horn for
Or
that
being a
before.
cuckold, but maybe I
is
is
that
that
not
a
just what
theatre
your
thing?
husband told you, Lisa?
Or is it?
That would
I
put you
thought
off,
that was.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up now. That might be a theatre thing. That might be a Shakespeare thing. But I thought it was a cuckold who grew a horn. But also, how would you actually like? Do you reckon they grafted a bit on? They got a little decided to graft it on.
I mean, I would imagine that things like that can actually grow. I mean, these are medical curiosities, so I would imagine it's a thing that you could grow an extra spur of bone, or you could grow something that was made of keratin, and obviously, if it was on your scalp, it could very well be made of keratin, which is what rhino horns are made from.
Blimey. I mean, people have tails
Oh,
and stuff like that, don't they? They have extra bones
Bones,
on
yeah.
their spine, and that grows into a tail. So I guess it can happen.
Absolutely. So if you wanted to see any of those kind of curiosities, the Hunterian Museum is absolutely the place to go. There are all the things in jars and formaldehyde, and it's a bit of a Victorian. It's a it's like a Victorian sweet shop for people who do those kinds of
Medical
research.
medical freak show.
So a cuckold is actually the husband of an adulterous wife.
Right.
So he would be cuckold because he's been cuckolded by his adulterous wife, and that's why he would wear horns.
A
They would put horns on
werehorn.
him to,
So you could
yeah,
Oh,
wear,
to
oh,
so
show him
okay.
rather than grow a horn. But I think
Right.
it's probably be yeah, the men and women are wearing horns in
so
this particular picture that they're
it's a
calling out a
shame
cuckold.
thing. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a kind of,
Yeah.
a feather and treacle kind of. What is it? Tar and
Treacle.
feather. Tar and feather.
Tarring and feathering.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was better.
Punishment horns.
treacle
Punishment.
sounds much nicer.
It does,
Yeah.
doesn't it? That sounds like a lovely kind of bath range, doesn't it? Feather and treacle.
There's definitely a story where the horn is grown for the cuckold, though I must have heard it in some sort of folklore or story, I'm sure.
I should be I should be making notes for short stories. I The
I feel
Victorians were incredibly fond of short stories, and I think it's a genre that's kind of fallen out of fashion for a while. But I hear that the short stories are back in favour, so maybe we'll write one about the
good.
horn.
I feel
Well,
like the
nobody's
art
got a
of
long enough attention span for anything else.
no.
Yeah,
So
it
you might
is.
as well
Yeah,
I feel like the art
feed
of
into
paper
short form video.
mache had left the Victorians then if they were actually growing horns to put on people.
Or they were just putting something else in the paper mache that was starting to merge.
Yuck.
And yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, Jody, tell
Uh,
us a bit about your research because you've obviously done a lot of it.
So lots of museums. So
Mhm.
I've been to an awful lot of museums. I think my favourite is the Pitt Rivers Museum in Oxford. I don't know if you've been there, but it's an extraordinary collection, and it was, as many of these museums were, a private collection from one of these kind of Victorian men of letters that used to charge around the world and just use it as a big sweet shop and steal things and whatever they wanted to collect. And it is now it's making a lot of reparations where they need to be made. So it's doing some really groundbreaking good work on that, but it still has these incredible collections of the most extraordinary things, and it has these displays which are curated under sympathetic magic. And under it, there are all of these things that people used to use to put curses on other people.
Like puppets
So
and
yeah, puppets, kind of, wax pin dolls,
I like a puppet.
beads that are made of particular things, and then beads with maybe hair wound around those beads. And so um, all kinds of carved gods and images that were meant to give fertility, or to make people fall out of love with other people. And it's a huge rabbit hole when you go in there of that kind of research. So I love those kinds of museums, and I find them very inspiring as those sort of little anecdotes and added things that you can put into books. But I also did quite a lot of research for the Surgeon's House into Victorian medical treatment, and particularly the medical treatment of women. There's a particularly unpleasant doctor in that book who is researching pain. And the only way that the Victorians really had to do things like that, they didn't have simulators. They would have research pain by giving people pain. And so that there are lots of studies about that, and obviously I write novels, so it's a lot of that is extrapolated in the fiction of creating these kinds of evil characters. But the research for that was really fascinating as well. And I've got some of the collections here. My husband did once catch me online buying Victorian medical equipment, which I wanted to use as the displays for the book launch and things. But actually, I did begin to get quite interested in this equipment. So I now have quite a collection of them. What I really want is a mechanical fleam, which is it's a bloodletting instrument, and it's beautiful. I don't you're gonna look these up, I know, after the show. But they're really beautifully made, and they're like a mechanical leech's mouth. So instead of using the real leeches, they used to use these things to kind of open up parts of people's arms and let the blood out into these very ornate, beautifully engraved drip trays. So
I'm
they are
just
actually
checking,
lovely
Jody.
objects.
Is your husband okay?
Yeah, we'd
He's
like.
still
He's not
around.
okay.
He's fine. He's got no blood left.
He's not,
I think
he's
we
not
may have
okay.
bitten off more than we can chew with Jody, Lise.
Yeah.
So maybe we put her back outside the
Although,
red rabbit hole.
purely for research interests, were there any kind of charms in that museum about how to get your children to go to bed at night?
Oh
Any
no.
little tricks from any like tying them, making little models of them, tying them up with hair, putting them in
You could
bed?
do that, but I think you could probably just show them a picture of a mechanical flea. That would probably
Yes,
do the trick.
this will get you if you don't go to sleep.
This will get you. Yeah.
Be up all night, mummy. Oh no, I'd have to, this is down the side of your bed. If you get out, this is what you're
Yeah.
gonna step
That works.
into.
Yeah.
So you,
I'm the youngest of
Hero.
4 siblings, and I'm quite a bit younger than some of my siblings. And when I was small, they used to babysit me. And the thing that they used to do when my parents had gone out and they were babysitting was they would make me watch horror films. So I'm sensing where a lot of this is coming from.
and why not, eh?
So you're going to
Why
invite
not? Some of
them
them are brilliant.
over for a party with all of your Victorian medical
Your
instruments one
fleams.
day. The time has come for my revenge, siblings.
Yeah, they decorate my writing room. Give me ideas for research.
Oh,
Some of the stuff that I
wow.
was researching today. So I'm writing another Victorian Gothic at the moment, and I was thinking if anybody ever seized my laptop and read through it, I'd probably be arrested because my last Google searches are things like how long would it take someone to die in a sealed Victorian hothouse? One of the ones that's powered by steam, especially if you put something not noxious in. So I was doing all these different searches as to see how quickly people would die with different poisons in these kind of sealed rooms.
Let's
Yeah,
hope you
I
never
think
get
we'd all
caught in the
get
middle of
arrested.
anything,
Yeah.
Jody. So if nothing ever happens that you're on the periphery of, but they
Yeah.
extract your search history or evidence.
Now, Jody, you are one of our lovely authors that's part of our 31 Days of Halloween for October. And
I
you
am. Yeah.
teased the audience with a ghost story that you didn't have time for. So are you willing to tell it now for us?
I can tell it's not really a ghost story. So the other one it is a ghost story, the one that I sent you for the
Mm.
31 Days of Halloween. This happened on the same road, but is actually a weird kind of crime rather than the ghost story.
I
But
love a weird
if
crime.
you okay, well, it's actually the house that's almost diagonally opposite to ours, and I've never managed to get inside that house, so I don't know. And probably because people know that I collect
Probably
things
because
like
they've, yeah, I
Victorian
was going to
fleas.
say, yeah,
Yeah,
your neighbour saw your flame
never managed to
delivered.
get in somehow. But
You asked them to
I
look after your cat or something, and they've been in your writing room and gone, oh, back away, back away slowly, and never upset that lady over there.
maybe well, but weirdly enough, it is a house that changes hands quite a lot. So so the next time it gets up for sale, I am going to go in there because I think it changes hands a lot because probably there is a bit of a feeling in there. Anyway, it belonged to a pilot, a commercial airline pilot, and somebody who also had a play. There's a small airfield near Guildford, and he used to fly these kind of microlights from there as well. And he and his wife had quite a violent relationship. I think there was always lots of trouble there. Anyway, he killed her after a fight that they'd had, and he rolled her up in a carpet and took her out in this microlight plane that he had. Sort of drove her up to the airfield, took her out in this microlight plane, and just dropped the entire carpet down into a lake, which was on a golf course. And the body wasn't found for some time, but eventually he cracked and he admitted it.
Well, I mean, no one saw that plane dropping a carpet
Well,
at 50,000 feet or whatever.
well, it wouldn't even have been particularly high up because it was a microlight.
Yeah.
So it would have had a body hanging down, rolled
Oh
up in a
dear.
carpet underneath it.
suppose it was a
Yeah,
Yeah.
halfway decent plan.
yeah.
Couldn't imagine if you did see it. But I don't know what's he got there. Is that going to be one of those banners that
Oh yeah,
pulls
the
out
banner.
behind? Maybe if I
Oh
watch,
no,
it'll say,
surprise.
Happy
Joyce, will you marry
anniversary.
me? Or
Yeah.
something, maybe. If we
Yeah,
watch it long
I'm
enough.
sorry.
Oh, hang on, no, he's just dropped it. Let's go check. Where's he dropped that?
yeah, yeah. It's pretty grim. And but
Oh.
you kind of you hear all of these things and you gather all these things as you know, and sooner or later these things do they pop up in your books.
Mm, yeah.
Oh. Has
Thinking about
that
that one.
turned up in a book yet?
Hasn't turned up in a book yet, no, but I have just finished writing a swamp gothic, if you like, a contemporary gothic set in Norfolk. And I think my next one is going to be based in woods. So
Oh,
you
like
never
a
know.
folk horror, maybe. You're going to lead more towards a folk horror
Maybe. Yeah, quite
or
like a bit of
in
folk.
nature magic and things. Quite
Yeah,
like
fun with
Do
that.
do you just kind of go where your interest takes you, or do you go, right, I'm going to write Gothic, I'm going to stick with the Victorian era, or do you just go, I'm just going to go where my imagination and my research takes me?
I have done a bit of that. So there's another. So I've written another three Victorian Gothics. So there are because and some of them are linked and some of them aren't. But I wrote the contemporary one because I just had I'm from Norfolk, and it's all set in around Norfolk, and it is based a lot on Norfolk folklore. And as you know, you before you even get words onto a page, books appear in your head, and they
Mm.
you just think about it for years, don't you? Really years. I think the small museum I was probably thinking about for 8 or 9 years before I ended up writing it. And these books are the same. These kind of contemporary ones, they're just being composted.
composted. That's a good word for it.
Composted. Mm.
Literary compost.
Yes, literary compost.
That's got to be another better word for that.
No, I think it's compost has that nice kind of dank sort of fetid thing. I think
Yeah,
that's
but it's
yeah.
also good for
Fed
the
by bodies.
yeah. You. Yeah, yeah. So what are you writing at the moment, Jodie? You said you're doing more modern one at the
Yeah.
minute or
No, I've
just
just
finished?
done finalized the edits on that contemporary one. So at the moment I am writing a prequel to a Victorian Gothic that I wrote that was set in music hall. And so this is kind of at the beginnings of setting up the music hall. And this is the one where somebody is probably going to die in a sealed up hothouse. Um,
Mm,
We
what a
did
way to go.
we did music
We
hall.
did
We
with Nell
discussed kind
Dixon,
of
I
a
think,
couple
wasn't
of
it?
times.
Yeah.
Nell, but also who did we talk about the theatre with the children
What's
with
that now?
the exit door?
Yeah, where they it was
Oh,
Christmas and they were giving toys out at the stage and the children all rushed forward and started
they
trampling
rushed
each other
forward and they had for some reason the locking mechanism. It was some
and the
sort of thing
doors
that the
were
door
all
wasn't open, so they all piled behind it.
yeah,
oh,
And
I have heard that story.
yes,
Yeah, that's really
gruesome.
awful.
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah,
So I've
yeah.
actually, oh, you might be interested in this. I've actually got a book on my shelf called, and I'm going to get the exact title for it, Perils of the Victorian Stage. I didn't end up using any of the research from that book because I didn't need it. But it is an entire book which is a list of weird, odd accidents which happened on the Victorian stage, and it's fascinating.
Well, there
It's
was a lot that could happen to you, I believe. Like things like
yeah,
well, if you're in the top,
Lighting
yeah,
yeah,
well,
like, yeah.
fires, but also if you were in the top floor and you had things were burning and you only had a little smoke hole for it all to go out of, people on the top floors would like lose consciousness and fall, whoop, because of the quality of the air that they were getting
Mm.
up there. Like it was a risky business being in theatre in the Victorian era.
It was massively risky, and they used all kinds of really weird things as stage props and noises. So they often used to use, I mean, if it was a storm, you'd have a child running up and down with a tin of peas, kind of that sort of stuff. But they got very into mechanical sets and moving very heavy stage furniture around. So there were quite a lot of accidents and deaths from that going wrong, from people being suspended from ceilings, because it was all there was a lot of theatricality to the mediums as well. So they would have on stage seances, because they all had this hugely vested interest in proving the afterlife, proving that souls existed. And so they would use really noxious chemicals and do dangerous things with flames and mirrors and smoke and chemicals on stage. And there were a lot of accidents from that as well.
I don't think they were
Probably had a narrow
particularly.
escape once.
Yeah, I don't think they had a
Yeah.
particularly good health and safety record anyway. But I can see why there's a lot of theatres now that are haunted.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Why they have to leave the light on. Well, look,
Yeah,
I was in a stage show once that, well, I wasn't in it. I was who was I? I was working backstage. I was only young.
dropping
And
lights on people.
yeah, dropping lights on people. No, well, the thing was the entire thing was in blackout because it was about the ugliest woman in the world, but they never wanted anyone to see somebody be the ugliest woman in the world. So the idea was you never knew what she looked like, so you created it in your own imagination. And one thing that I had to do, so the actors were finding their way around using ropes on the floor, and it was really cleverly done. And I had to soak pieces of liver in TCP and then fry it on the side of the stage so that the smell would waft up and around the audience. So I was doing that in the dark. So that could have been disastrous. Noxious chemicals, noxious meat.
It could have been, but nothing bad
And a hot
happened.
flame. No, no, it was a good show. The only thing was because it was it was blacked out. Somebody once fell asleep in the audience, and in a quiet moment,
They
because
snore.
it's meant to be this woman's journey, this woman's story. In a very quiet moment, you could just hear,
Brilliant. That would have been
and
my
it was
husband, probably.
pitch black. And you could just hear it around the whole auditorium because everyone had tuned in as well to sounds and smells and kind of the rushing of movement of people going past them. And the actors were brilliant. They were moving around the stage to make the sounds sound like they were coming from all over the place.
That sounds
Very
great.
clever.
Just reminded me that when my brother used to do that to me when I was younger, he'd say, "Do you want to see a picture of the ugliest woman in the world?" And he'd have like a shoebox or something, and I'd lift the lid of the shoebox, and obviously inside
Yeah.
there would be a mirror. And he found this very funny.
You gotta love
I
brothers, haven't you?
think,
Quite
yeah,
a lot
your siblings have definitely got
A
maybe a
bloodletting
stake in
coming.
your writing career.
Right, well, we
Wow.
have reached the end of our first episode of Victoriana
Oh,
gruesomeness. Yes, that went
quick.
quick, didn't it? I know, it always does. But we're going to keep Jodie a week down the rabbit hole. We're going to be very careful with her
Yeah.
and her
I
machinery.
might frisk her again to make sure she didn't bring any of her Victorian
Well,
instruments with her,
it's
just to
good
be
you frisked her
sure.
the first time because
Big
you rarely
pockets.
do that. Yeah,
No, I
the
don't
stuff
I've
these
actually.
got
No.
writers have.
secret pockets.
Yeah.
Secret pockets like the Victorian women had
Yeah.
inside the skirt.
Just gonna
Definitely getting frisked again. Gonna go and get
yeah,
my metal detector.
your metal detector.
Steal something from one of the airports, put it in the top of the hole so people have to pass through it.
Well, thank you for sticking with us, viewers and listeners. And for our next episode, Jodie will remain here and she will be judging a new Victorian crime off that me and Lisa have put together and seeing which story she finds the most intriguing. Which, spoiler alert.
Which of us is going into the compost for the next book?
Who's going to get trapped in the hothouse? Probably me. At least I'll be warm. That's that's what I say about everything.
That's
I'm so
true.
cold. It's changing seasons already. I'm so cold. At least I'll be warm as I die. It's
It's
always the
not a
silver
nice way to
lining.
die. Spoiler alert.
Oh, is it not? Oh no.
No, really not.
Oh well.
Just start like cooking. It feels
Yeah.
that's part of me. I always think some of these hot things, I think you're going to start cooking, aren't you? Because
What,
you
like
The
kind of
smelling
inside
need.
your
bit
own
where you
organs cooking and
Mm,
I think it's a throat constriction thing. Not very nice.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll be your lungs and everything in the air, and your lungs all burn, and that's not going to be pleasant. So we're going to leave you with that then, listeners and viewers.
Don't have
Yeah,
nightmares.
yeah, just think about how you'd die if you were trapped in a Victorian hothouse with maybe
Well,
carnivorous plants. We don't know.
we hope there are no
Um,
older siblings playing this podcast to their younger siblings right now and then going, off to bed. Sleep tight. Don't let the Victorians' bloodletting machines bite.
My work here is done.
Nope. Stay exactly where you are, Jody. We're coming back to you. And we will see. And
Yeah.
remember to follow the Red Rabbit on all your social media and subscribe wherever you're listening to. It makes a huge difference to us being a new podcast. And Jody's links for her books will be in the show notes. So do take a look at The Small Museum and The Surgeon's House. I'm going to show you it again because it's such a beautiful book. It's just
We're just getting
gliding
Rabbit's
past.
tummy right now. Yeah.
Are you?
We'll have to take our green screens off.
I'm gliding past like a ghost, so you can actually
Yes.
see. There we go. As long as my face is
There
in
will
it.
be a picture of the cover in all of the graphics.
Yes, excellent. Right, we'll see you next time, guys.